They say empathy is a gift, a rare ability to feel what others feel, to connect, to understand. But what if I told you some people use that gift to destroy? There's a type of manipulator who doesn't shout, doesn't threaten. They watch, they listen, they smile, and then they twist you from the inside. I'm not talking about a narcissist or a sociopath. I'm talking about something much harder to detect, something colder. They're called Dark Empaths, masters of emotional warfare, with one foot in your heart and the other on your throat. You might have met one, you might love one, or Dark Empaths are not broken, they are evolved. They learn to mimic concern, but feel nothing. They tell you exactly what you need to hear, so you open up, so you trust, and then they feed on your fears, your guilt, your secrets. Unlike classic manipulators who lack empathy completely, Dark Empaths have it. They just weaponize it. They're the kind of people who comfort you with one hand and twist the knife with the other. They don't explode, they don't yell, they just smile, like nothing ever happened. You try to call them out, they'll cry first, they'll make you feel like the villain, and somehow you'll end up apologizing.
But you still feel something for me, right?
Yeah, I do, but that's what makes it more dangerous, doesn't it? I feel things. All of them, maybe even more intensely than most, but I've learned to control it, to choose who gets access, to choose who I allow myself to care about. You think that's cold? No, that's precision, that's discipline. Some people walk into my life and I feel nothing, not even a flicker. Others, like you, ignite something I can't always explain. But even then, it's still a decision. You don't have to be a monster to turn off empathy. You just need to understand the cost of keeping it on all the time. It drains you. It weakens you, so I filter it. Not everyone deserves it. I don't give my empathy to people just because they cry, or bleed, or scream loud enough. I give it when it makes sense, when it serves a purpose, or when someone actually earns it. Most people think empathy is automatic, a reflex, but for someone like me, it's a tool, a weapon, and sometimes a luxury. I'm not a robot. I just stopped pretending that emotions have to be fair. They don't. I feel when I want to feel, for who I choose. And yeah, sometimes that means I feel deeply for one person and absolutely nothing for the next. It's not brokenness, it's not psychopathy, it's selective humanity. And once you master it, you stop being manipulated by guilt. You stop drowning in the pain of others. You become free.
So I'm just lucky, huh?
Not lucky, clever. You just knew how to get past the filters. That's not luck, that's strategy. You spoke the right language. The emotional code I still respond to. See, most people don't realize how empathy really works. They think it's magic or weakness. But biologically, it's a response system, neural mirroring. We feel because our brain reflects what we see. Pain, joy, fear, but it's not unstoppable. You can train it, you can build resistance. If you've been hurt enough, betrayed enough, your brain adapts. It stops firing automatically. You start running every emotional reaction through a filter. Does this benefit me? Is this person manipulating me? Do they deserve my reaction? And the moment you ask those questions, you're no longer just feeling, you're analyzing. It becomes strategic empathy, tactical compassion. You still feel, but you control when and why and for who. That's not cold, that's survival. And in many cases, it's power, because when others drown in emotions, you're still breathing. While they freeze in panic, you calculate. While they hesitate, you strike. And here's the twist. People with this type of control, they can actually simulate deeper empathy than most, because they study it. They learn patterns, body language, tone. They know how to fake warmth better than someone who feels it genuinely. That's why dark empaths are dangerous, because when we choose to care, it's not impulsive, it's intentional, and everything intentional is stronger. So no, I'm not numb, I'm just trained. And sometimes, that training is the only thing keeping the monsters out.
But how do you recognize someone like that? How do you know they're a dark empath?
That's the tricky part. You won't recognize them by how they look. They don't wear a mask because they don't need to. They've become the mask. What you'll notice is subtle. First, how they make you feel. Dark empaths know how to mirror. They'll reflect your emotions back at you perfectly, like a flawless echo. You'll feel seen, understood, safe, but it's engineered. They ask just the right questions, nod at just the right moments, react like they've known your soul for years, and maybe they have, not because they care, but because they observed. They memorized you, watched how you speak, when your voice cracks, what memories make your eyes twitch. It's not affection, it's mapping. They're not loud manipulators. They don't dominate with force. They invite. They make you think you chose them, that you opened up by choice. But it was never your choice. It was calculated. They gave you permission. Just enough silence, just enough empathy to make you hand over your secrets like gifts. And they rarely explode. That's another sign. Real manipulators don't scream. They whisper. They control the room with stillness, calm energy, a gaze that reads too much, a voice that never gets angry but makes you feel guilty anyway. Last sign, they always ask about your pain, never theirs. They deflect or turn their story into a lesson. They don't vent, they educate, because they know that being mysterious is power, and the less you know about them, the more you're drawn in.
Then tell me, darling. Give them a little test. How can they catch one of your kind?
You want a test? Fine, but don't expect fireworks. This isn't Hollywood. It's quiet, subtle, surgical. First, share a story, something personal, something that matters to you, and then watch, not how they react, but how fast. If they mirror your emotions too perfectly, too instantly, they've rehearsed this. People don't feel that fast. Predators do. Next, say no to them. About anything, something small. Watch their eyes. Dark empaths don't argue. They adjust. Instantly, they smile, nod, pretend they didn't care. But the shift is real. Pay attention to that micro flinch, the second before the mask resets. That's not normal. Now try this. Disappear. Pull back. Don't answer for a day. A real empath will worry. A narcissist will rage. But a dark empath, they'll stay silent, cold, waiting, because they don't chase. They trap. And if they reach out, it's not to ask how you are. It's to ask where you went. Last test. Ask them who they used to be. Ask what broke them. If they tell you too much, too fast, they're lying. If they tell you nothing, they're hiding. But if they smile and say, "It doesn't matter now, walk away," that one's dangerous. Now Elizabeth prepared 3 little stories for you, each one sharper than the last. Listen carefully.
Yay. Finally my moment. Let's begin, shall we? First story. He always knew what to say. When someone was sad, he didn't just comfort them. He mirrored their pain like a perfect reflection. He cried with them, laughed with them, became what they needed. People said he had the softest heart they'd ever met. And maybe that was true. But he also remembered everything they said. Their weaknesses, their fears, their guilty secrets. And when they disappointed him, he didn't yell. He didn't break things. He simply used it, turned their own words against them, like knives made of trust. One girl told him once that she hated being alone. So when she upset him, he disappeared. Not with anger, with silence. 3 days, 4, 5, she came crawling back, crying, begging, saying she'd do anything. And he forgave her. Sweetly, quietly, lovingly, just like always. Some people use fists, others use feelings. And he never left a bruise. But he never needed to. Second story. Let's say you're dealing with 2 bosses. One is strict. He yells, he threatens, he controls through fear. You hate working for him, but at least you see him coming. Then there's the second one. He never raises his voice. He smiles. He remembers your birthday. He listens. But over time, you notice something. When you make a mistake, he doesn't punish you. He lets you punish yourself. When you're late, he doesn't say anything. Just silence, disappointment, subtle tension. Suddenly you're working overtime, not because you have to, but because you need his approval. That second boss, he's the dangerous one. He doesn't scare you, he shapes you, and when he finally turns on you, you'll blame yourself. That's dark empathy. Not loud, not violent, but devastating. Third story. They met on a rainy Thursday. He said she felt familiar, like an echo from a dream. For months, he treated her like a queen. Candlelight, touch, eye contact that felt like gravity. He learned everything. Her fears, her childhood, the way she apologizes even when it's not her fault. And then, it shifted. Not all at once. Just little things. He'd forget to text back. Make small jokes that stung. Slowly she stopped laughing. Started second-guessing herself. And he'd comfort her. Tell her she's overthinking. That he loves her. That she's lucky to have someone so patient. And she believed him. Of course she did. Because he didn't hurt her like the others. He understood her. That's the trap. Dark empathy isn't cruelty. It's knowing exactly what you need and twisting it until you break yourself.
So, dark empaths aren't monsters from movies. They're people. Intelligent, charming, but underneath, they analyze, mimic, and manipulate. And the scariest part, they often believe they're helping, or that you deserve it. Protect yourself, learn the patterns, and never ignore your gut. This is where we end for today. I'm Shadow, signing off.
I knew you'd stay till the end. That's why I like you, Darklings. See you very soon.